Hi guys, today's lesson is going to be on point-slope form. We're going to focus on graphing an equation in point-slope form. First, let's talk about what point-slope form of a line is. We've already learned slope-intercept and standard form. Now this is our third and final form of a line. Point-slope form is in the form y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Remember that our x1 and y1 are our point, which we see over here, and our m is our slope. That's where we get the name point-slope form. We need a point, and the slope, which is our m, to put it into point-slope form. So here's an equation of a line in point-slope form. Y minus 3 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 2. We're going to pull information from this. We know when it's in point-slope form that we have a point and a slope. And point-slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So if we look at the equation given to us, all we need to do now is pull out the information. We want to pull out the point, our x1, comma y1, and our slope, our m. So looking at this, first the point, we see x1, we have x minus 2, and in our equation it's x minus x1. So our x1 is going to be a positive 2. Be careful there. You might want to say it's negative 2, but if you look at our equation, it's x minus x1, and up here it's x minus 2. So just the 2 is our x1. Then y1, we have y minus 3. Again, it's y minus y1. So our y1 is going to be a positive 3. It's always going to be the opposite sign of what you see. In point-slope form, if it's a negative 3, that means our y1 is a positive 3. If the x is a negative 2 or x minus 2, that means our x1 is a positive 2. The last thing that we need is our slope. We have our m here. What's replacing that m is negative 2. So m is negative 2. So we have our point, 2, 3, our x1, y1, and our slope, negative 2. Our m is negative 2. Now that we looked at a problem of pulling the information, we're going to talk about graphing. Remember, once you have a point and you know the slope of a line, you can graph that line, because you can use the slope to find a second point. So here are the steps that we're going to follow when graphing a line that's in point-slope form. First step, we're going to find the slope of a line, or find the slope of the line. And again, it's y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So our slope should be easy. We just find what's replacing the m. Second step, find the point provided in the form x1, y1. So we're going to look at our equation, and we're going to find our x1, whatever's taking the place of x1, and our y1, whatever's taking the place of y1. And then we're going to write that as an ordered pair, x1, y1. Third step is to graph that point. Once we know what that point is, we want to put that point on our graph. We're graphing a point, so you go over on your x-axis, which is left and right, and then you go up on your y, and wherever you end up is your point. Then, we're going to use our slope to find our second point. From that first point you plot, you're going to use your rise over run, or what your m is, to find your second point. And once you have 2 points, you're going to draw the line that connects those 2 points. And you'll have the graph of your line. Alright, let's take a look at one. That was a lot of information, so let's try an example. So in this problem, they give us the equation y minus 4 is equal to 1/2 times x plus 3. It's in slope or point slope form, and we know point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. First step is to find our slope. We want to find what's replacing our m. Where the m is, instead of having m, they have 1/2. So our slope, our m, is equal to 1/2. Then we want to find our point, x1, y1. My x value, when we come up and look in here, it's x minus x1, but up here they have x plus 3. If you remember, I said it's always going to be the opposite of the sign you see in front of it. So since this is a plus 3, our x1 is actually going to be a negative 3. So x1 is negative 3. And then our y1, y minus y1, we have y minus 4. We have a y minus 4, so our y1 is going to be a positive 4, the opposite of what we see. Now we want to plot that point. We go negative 3 on our x-axis, 1, 2, 3, and positive 4 on our y, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we plot that point. So at negative 3, 4, we have our first point. We put it on our graph. From that point, we use our slope to find our second point. Our slope is 2 over 1, or a rise of 2, a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So we're going to go up 1 and over 2 and plot our second point. Once we have both those points plotted, we just draw the line that connects them. And we've graphed our equation of a line. Alright, let's look at one more example. Again, we need to pull the information so that we can graph it. Point slope form is y minus y1, and that's equal to m times x minus x1. Looking at our information, our slope, this one's a little different. They just have x minus 4. Or sorry, negative 4x. So it's not set up exactly the same way, but it's going to be very similar. In this case, our slope's still going to come in our same place. We can see right here that our 4 is in front of our x's. Actually, it's a negative 4 is in front of our x's. So our slope is going to be a negative 4. Now we need to find our point, our x1, y1. In this equation, we don't have an x1. There's nothing over here. We're not subtracting x by anything or adding anything with x. So our x1 is going to be 0. If there's nothing there, it's going to be a 0. And our y1, looking over here, y minus y1, y plus 2. So it's going to be the opposite of that sign, so it's going to be a negative 2. So we have a point in our slope. Once we have that, we can graph our line. We go to 0 on our x, which is right at the origin, and then we go down 2 on our y to negative 2 and plot that point. From there, we use our slope, which is negative 4, or negative 4 over 1, to find our second point. A rise of negative 4, which means we go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a run of 1 over 1. And then plot that point. Once we have our 2 points, we draw the line that connects them. That was a horrible line, but you guys get the idea. Alright, that's all I have for this lesson. Please complete the following, which is section S.15 or S.15 with a SMART score of 80 or better. If you have any questions, please ask. Have a great day.